Welcome to this Believe in NFL Draft Prospect podcast. It is a Thursday, so you know that we are bringing you an interview with one of the top returning players in all of college football. We have turned the page on the 2021 NFL Draft, so we're going to talk to some 2022 eligible players and even some 2023 potential players as well throughout the process. I have here a player that I believe could potentially be the top tight end drafted in the 2022 NFL draft. Very talented player. It's been an all Sun Belt selection the last two seasons, averaged over 20 yards a catch, over 600 yards for the regular season undefeated Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. I have Isaiah Likely joining the show. Isaiah, appreciate you again, man. I know we've been trying to get this set up for a while, man, but I really appreciate you taking some time today.
Appreciate you, my man. Happy to be on the show.
I love it, man. I love it. And Isaiah, I kind of want to run this because I've been doing in preparation for the interview. I've been doing my background of you as a player, as a student athlete, but then also going all the way back to the recruiting side of things and just seeing, where the roots are of you as a football player. So I wanted to kind of take you back real quick. Everett High School. I know in Massachusetts. I know you were a great football player. I know you guys had a dynamic stretch there at the end, number one ranking in the state down the stretch of your high school career. So real quick, if you could take me just through the recruiting coming out of Everett and why ultimately for you, Coastal was the best spot.
Um, in Ever High, I had a lot of FCS offers. Started getting a lot of attention as the season went on. Got Coastal near the end, near December. Coastal was one of my only visits. Went to Coastal feeling real sick. They still told me to come. Showed me love and affection to me, my family, and just the people around me and who made my circle. Didn't commit on the spot at Coastal when I went for my recruiting visit. So the position coach at the time, Nick Jones, flew all the way back and had a dinner with me and the rest of my family that didn't come to the actual official visit. So I felt like them showing me that much love while I'm sick, not feeling too well, don't really want to be there, and still showing me the hospitality, love, and showing me all the players, just showed me that like this is the place I got to be. This is the family I want to be with.
I love it, man. And one thing that I think has been very consistent for all the Coastal guys that I've been able to talk to is I've been past the college. I've never like stopped and kind of enjoyed the sites, but everyone talks about just the atmosphere around the college and just the beautiful campus in general. After you kind of had made your decision and you kind of got to sit back and just take a look at the campus life and all that good stuff. For you, how special of a place is Coastal now for you?
Coastal's everything like a little kid dream of, like playing Division I football, you play on TV, then like that's only the football aspect. Then you get to the brotherhood in the locker room, then you get to the memories you're making. It's just a great place to be. You can see all on Twitter, we retweet all of our stuff. We always laughing and joking. Everybody love everybody at Coastal. It's a perfect place to be if you want to play college football.
I love it, man. And one thing that I'm really jealous about, and I was telling this to Grayson McCall when I was talking to him, was, man, you guys just look like I'm thinking back on it, and like I had a lot of fun playing football, but I have never seen a group of guys that just seem to have so much fun. You got the mullets flowing in the breeze, like there's just so much fun, man. Talk to me about that team, about the players around you, because I know you mentioned you guys have a great time and all that good stuff, but the brotherhood and maybe to expand on that a little bit, just the special group of players that you guys have a part of the program?
So coming in as a freshman, my first 2 years at Coastal, we went 5-7, and we felt like the chemistry was all right, but it wasn't as strong as it needed to be. So that summer of my sophomore year, we preached chemistry, preached bonding, and like a lot of players just started hanging out with everybody. And like, the locker room usually on some teams is a little diverse. Everybody be with their own like little cliques, little groups. But my sophomore summer, you could see everybody just start hanging out with everybody in the locker room. You could just walk up to everybody and everybody knew everybody. Everybody knew everybody's backstory. And then that just going into that spring, going into that fall camp, it was just a different type of atmosphere out there. Everybody was just for everybody. Everybody had your back, coaches included. And you could just see as the year went on, nobody really had more fun than Coastal, and we stood by that. And it wasn't like we was just having fun. We was winning games. We was doing what we had to do. and everybody had everybody's back on the field. It was not one like black swarm. Everybody was to the football. I scored, Grayson scored, or Shamari or Javon. Everybody was in the end zone celebrating. Even our old linemen running 50 yards down the field, acting like they scored. It was just a fun place to be.
Absolutely. And I really love, kind of like you were talking about a little bit, back to back 5 and 7 seasons. And then you guys have this magical season, which I think can't be undersold for the fact of you're dealing with COVID-19 at points, right? To begin, into from the spring into the fall. Are we going to have a season? I'm sure at some points that probably cross your guys' mind. Like, is this going to hold up? Are we going to be able to have a full season? Just thinking back to all the trials and tribulations that the pandemic threw at you guys, how difficult was that? And then now looking back on it, just being able to navigate that and to have the season, it has to be overly rewarding just to think of all the things that you guys overcame throughout the process.
100%. I mean, dealing with COVID during the season, it was just like you couldn't actually be a college student, if that makes sense. So like you
Yeah.
couldn't do like your regular basic routines, like either like go chill with your friends on the weekends after a game, or like go see like random students on campus like during the week. So like you actually really had to like be bought into the team and understand like it's just bigger than you. And I feel like as the season went on, like a lot of our team just started understanding that and bought into the actual dream that we was trying to like fulfill. Like we was trying to win a conference championship. And like after we beat Kansas, it was just everybody was on board. Everybody was just together, and we didn't have a COVID case for like over 8 weeks until we played Lafayette, and then that's when just stuff started. Like COVID was inevitable. Like you was like it just happened. So it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah, and obviously you guys did the best of what you had, and I think obviously I know Grayson had said you guys were picked last to finish in the conference, and you end up with this
Yeah.
undefeated season. Thinking about that fact of the special season you guys had, but then also your season, 30 catches for over 600 yards, 20 yards a catch as a tight end is absolutely absurd. 3 straight years of 5 touchdowns. Did you guys, I know you were talking about like you knew that each other had everybody's back and there was kind of a different feeling. Was this your expectation to have an undefeated regular season, or did you guys even exceed what expectations you had set forth?
um our expectation was to go undefeated, so we didn't meet expectations. But we did want to win a conference championship, which we did. We did want to show that we wasn't last in the conference, which we did. We did want to show we can compete with anybody at any time, which we did. Scheduling BYU 3 days before the game. We just felt like we was able to go up against anybody at any given moment with the offense we had, with the defense we had, with the special teams we had. We just felt like the disrespect that was happening at the beginning of the season through our past just amped us up more during the season because nobody knew what we actually had in the tank until they actually started to play us. And if you look at the scoreboards in any game, you understood that Coastal wasn't here to play around.
Absolutely. And I know you've been a 3-year contributor to the team. So this was not your first, big season. You had a dominant sophomore season. You had 5 touchdowns as a freshman. So this was, same old story kind of for Isaiah, likely to a
Yeah.
degree. But kind of looking at your progression over the last couple years as a player, what do you feel like has been the biggest improvements in your game as a football player?
The biggest improvement I'd probably say is dialing up in the film room, just understanding not just my job, but trying to understand like the O line's job, Grayson's first, second read, the way defenses, the defensive fronts, defensive schemes in the back end, the secondary, and just understanding what they're doing before it actually happens. And I feel like that just helps me in my route game and really just blocking in general during the actual game and just slowing it a lot more down. Because as a freshman, when you come in, it's quick. Everything you don't really know a lot, and they just throw you in the fire if you're good, and it's just like you got to pick up as the season goes on. But me being a junior, coming into a lot of games, I just understood football on a whole nother level, and just really just play the game I like to play, and just killed anybody that was in front of me.
I love it, man. And obviously, you guys had a explosive offense, special offense. Had the chance to talk to CJ when he was going through his process as well, and it was a you mentioned Javon and a lot of great football players, Grayson, of course, good offensive line. Talk to me a little bit about the expectations now, because the season you guys had from an offensive perspective was obviously special. I know that the bar has been set even a little higher. And kind of adding into that, can you just talk to me a little bit about the connection that you have with Grayson and what makes him such a special player?
For the offense standpoint, we feel like we can score on any team, any defense in the nation. So offense standpoint, we trying to put at least 30, 35 to 40 points a game. And that's just off of knowing what we can do it day in and day out. And Grayson, I don't know if Grayson told you, but Grayson had COVID at the beginning of that spring. So Grayson didn't was it spring? Or it was either spring or fall camp.
Yeah, he had said that he had to go through two different sections of
Yeah,
quarantining because of his roommates and stuff. And I was like, wow, so he basically missed like a full month right
yeah.
before the season, which is insane.
So, but Grayson's a film guru, so he's in just trying to get in the playbook, trying to do what he's doing. And at the time, like we do ROAs, and Grayson like looking at me, he's like, "Yo, I want it. I want to start in spot." I'm like, "Just go get it then."
Mhm.
And then he come back on a whole nother Grayson level. He's over here just wowing people, and like Grayson does what Grayson does day in and day out. And just the connection that Grayson has on the field, the leadership he shows day in and day out, like Grayson is who you want as your number one quarterback at any school. He's a leader, he's a dog, he's a competitor, and just that really like lifted up the offense to a whole nother level. You couldn't stop what we was doing when we was in flow, and it was just great to have. So the connection as with a freshman at that time, because Grayson ain't never played an actual full season.
Mhm.
So coming into his sophomore year where he knows he's quarterback one is just a whole nother connection you're gonna see the whole year. Just
I'm
wow.
excited about it, man. I'm
Yeah.
really excited. And one cool thing that I was thinking about, and we were talking about a little bit, Isaiah, was the fact of like usually players, interviews, right? They're going to say, "Oh, the best defense I see every day is the one I see in practice," and usually it's it's kind of player talk a little bit, it's coach talk, but then honestly, in your situation, playing against guys like Teron Jackson, who just got drafted by the Eagles, to Jordan Strong, who I'm a big fan of, Silas Kelly, Teddy Gallagher, C.J. Brewer, Jeffrey Gunter, that is literally probably the best defense that you are going to see every Saturday. So talk to me about that defense and how much of a help they are to you as a development of a football player.
Oh yeah, I got everybody knows my defense is it. So like I play against the best linebackers you can ever play with. I play with Silas Kelly, Teddy Gallagher at linebackers that are just freaks at their positions. They understand football on a whole nother level. So when you see them, you just got to be on your A game day in and day out. And they gave me the best look. They just it. I love my boys. And then on the secondary standpoint, going against guys like the Jordan Strong, Jordan Morris, Derek Bush, Alex Spillum, it's just a competitive aspect. Like me and the Jordan will bicker, butt heads every day in practice because between the white lines, they understand they ain't friends for like the good 2 hours, 2.5 hours we out there. We just going at it, trying to get the best out of each other. But once we're done, once all said and done, like they my boys. Like I was just on the phone with the Jordan yesterday talking about it. Can't wait to get back to the guys. And then on the defensive line, I had the best defensive line in the nation. I could stand by that every single day. From Teron Jackson, Gerard Clark, Jeff Gunner, and CJ Brewer. But CJ and Teron picking up that big brother role for the team. Really, CJ Brewer picking up a big brother role for me, just showing me the rope, showing me leadership aspects to, lead my position group. It's just like him showing the young guys what to do day in and day out, how to be a role model, how to be a complete football player. It's just great. Like you ain't never gonna see, like you said, I ain't never gonna see a better defense than when I had to see 6 out of the 7 days a week.
I love it, man. And it was really funny. Again, I was talking to Grayson about that, and I was like, usually that's a cliche, but in
Yeah,
this reality, it is absolutely true. So
100%.
that's a lot of fun. I know that the defense and the team in general is just filled with a lot of great football players. I'm kind of curious because you mentioned guys that had kind of big brother role. Maybe they are players that lead by example, and maybe you try to emulate the leadership qualities, all that good stuff. I'm curious about you whether it is growing up or it is now, are there some players, NFL players, past players, whatever, that you watch a lot that maybe you try to emulate parts of their game for yours?
For that, like I don't really have a specific favorite quote unquote NFL player. I usually try to take because nobody's perfect, so I try to take different parts of different people's games. So I watched a little bit of Travis Kelsey, Waller, Evan Ingram, and just little receivers down here and there, a little bit of Julio, just seeing what they could do in and out of cuts, in and out of breaks, and
Sure.
then a little bit of Kittle, just because he's a dog in the run game. So just trying to get his tenacity, trying to get his competitive nature. But just really I watch everybody. I don't try to sing anybody out because everybody got their own little knack. That's why they're in the league. That's why they're playing at the highest level possible. So just trying to perfect my craft to be tight end one off the board.
I love it, man. I love it. And kind of my next question, Isaiah, is, I think that you have a very good opportunity to potentially be that top tight end in the country. So the things you've already accomplished are fantastic. But for you to not only be considered one of the best, but potentially to be the best tight end in the country, what's the next step in your development? What are the key things that are going to buoy you to being that top player in the country?
Um, be a top player in the country. Hearing around that teams are questioning, I guess, if I can quote unquote block, I
Mhm.
guess per se. But I mean, if you turn on the film, there's game in and game out. I'm blocking D linemen, I'm blocking linebackers, I'm blocking secondaries. But I mean, if you want to actually see quote unquote blocking, I will put it on the film day game in and game out. I'm a competitor. So like my sophomore season, they were talking about I had no yards after catch. I had I had three 50 plus yard touchdowns and I had over 10 25-yard receptions. So like it's just talking the air and just builds players with competitive nature like myself to just go out and get it and show them that like there's no flaws in my game.
That's funny because obviously people are going to nitpick and everything, but everything I always watch, I'm just like, at no point in my evaluation of you did I write down like a minus next to blocking because you guys run an option offense. I'm like, he has to block. Like,
Exactly.
there's no use, but he has to block. Like, there's no excuse there. And kind of the last thing, a couple things I wanted to ask you, Isaiah, is I know the bar has been set a lot higher now because you had that undefeated season, and you already talked about like, hey, we thought we were going to go undefeated anyway. So we're I know the bar is already high at this point, but looking at it now, the next step, what are the goals heading now into the 2021 season, individually and team wise? What are some things that you want to accomplish?
Team wise, we want to finish the regular season undefeated and we want to win a bowl game. We want to get into a New Year's Six this year instead of Cure Bowl. We feel like we could play against the Power Five top dogs in the nation. So just trying to have just trying to get really into that New Year's Six by any means possible. It don't matter who we got to play to get in there. We're trying to get in there. Really to finish, like we got a good conference, so just to finish undefeated, play every team the best of our capabilities, put points on the board, and have them limit their points on the board. And I know Black Swarm going to do that for me. Individually wise, um, trying to have my first 1,000-yard season and trying to have at least double-digit touchdowns. I think that's possible with the quarterback and offensive scheme I run and just the type of player I am and just what I've been doing in the offseason to be able to do that. And especially with having great help from Javon Hiley, Cam Brown, and my two running backs, Reese White and Shamar Jones. I feel like my O line's crazy dogs. So I know it's not impossible, but I know I'm gonna have to put the work in to be able to get what I want. And then really after it's all said and done, and after throw the film on just to get my name out there in the draft.
Love it,
Yeah.
man. And that's kind of the last question I had for you is obviously I'm a big believer that I think you're going to be very highly coveted by NFL teams with the athleticism pops off the film, but then also the all around aspect, I think, of your game as well, creating those explosive plays, being able to block, check a lot of boxes. And now kind of looking forward to this, like this time next year, you're potentially a professional football player. So just kind of have that in mind for a second. How long has that been a dream? And what type of blessing would that be overall to know that you're so close to that dream?
Uh I've been thinking about this since I've been 4 years old. I mean, I've been playing football for a long time. Always been putting a smile on my face. It's always my way to like clear my head, get out of the whole aspect. But it is a big blessing. I thank God every day that He gives me the opportunity to play the game I love at the highest possible level, day in and day out, and that He actually can create my dream to play in the NFL, and that
Mhm.
it can all happen in a little bit more time. Is being that's the word that. So we have this thing when we pick the word, our word of the year, and my
Mhm.
word was patience. So just understand and be patient, and that my time's coming, and that like I've been just keep doing what I've been doing because I've been doing the right things from this day since I've been a little kid. So just don't switch it up. Don't try to do too much, and just keep doing what I've been doing. But yeah, I just it always puts a smile on my face when I think about it, but I don't try to think too much of it because
Mhm.
it's like it's on the way, but it ain't here yet. I still got I still got a whole season, whole lot of college football, whole lot of children I got to play. So
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So again, for any NFL draft fans or any college football fans, make sure to keep an eye on number 4 for Coastal Carolina this year. Fantastic tight end. Think he's probably going to be an All-American this year. High draft pick. So Isaiah likely star tight end out of Coastal. Isaiah, appreciate you, man. Again, this was awesome. Kind of finally set it up, get an inside look. This was fantastic just to get the backstory, man. I really appreciate it.
anytime, my man.